Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, one more do say. Coming up. Yeah. Come on now. Come on, can't stop me. Come on. You coming up.
Hello. It is me again. I am one of your lovely hosts here at the House of Peach. This series. Welcome, 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 and come on in. It is Tuesday, and we are here. I am hoping that all is well, and April will be joining us soon. She is, always just set and making moves and this, that, and the third. So hopefully she should be able to join us shortly. A little bit of housekeeping besides the fact that my name is Morgan Harvey, which is right down at the bottom. There is a QR code right there at the top. It is there for you to be able to like and subscribe and share all of our amazing episodes, for you to be able to tell your friends about it, and to keep up with, next time we are live and any events that we decide to put on. So make sure you do that, and thank you in advance. So I hope your day was great. Mine was pretty chillax. Noah and I actually went to the beach. So that was fun. It was a nice sunny day outside, and my child loves the water. So that is what we chose to do for the day. And it was actually a pretty awesome day of learning. We learned the difference between a bay and ocean. We got to actually find some conch eggs and open that up and see exactly what it looks like inside. And it's like these little oval things, and there's like 30 to 50 of them in each one of these pods. So he made a new friend. I made a new mom friend. It was a good day. And all of the good things are, going on right now. So I am excited for the rest of the week. I hope you guys are. We did have extended weekend because of the holiday. So I hope you guys got a little bit of rest, and did some good partying on Sunday when most of the weather was good. So tonight it is He Said, She Said, the last Tuesday of the month. It's May. And we are going to be talking today about whether or not it's possible to love two people at one time. Obviously, we can have conversations about platonic love or familial love, but when it comes to, relationship and romantic type of love, is that something that is possible? What kind of honesty, boundaries, what does love exactly look like? So I am super, super excited for us to dig into this conversation. I know that we have a couple of people that will be jumping on as they get off of work, to be able to share their opinions. So if you guys are in here, you comment. I am actually jumping on to make sure I'm not missing anybody on my Facebook page. Hey, say hey if you're here, because sometimes I can't see you either, because I definitely see that I have viewers, but I'm not sure exactly who you are. So hello to you guys. Hey to all the other people on our YouTube platform, and our House of Peach page. So yeah, the conversation about loving two people. Everyone thinks that, threesomes are glorious, and, misunderstandings about really what polyamory or even swinging is. But what does a relationship look like, or what type of relationship can be able to actually withstand another partner? Can ego survive in that? I know in just a monogamous relationship, ego really has no room. So if I had to take a stab in the dark at it, ego really doesn't have any room in a situation like that. So I would love to know your thoughts. If you have been in a polyamorous relationship, if you have loved two people at the same time, if you have been someone on the other side of, your partner loving another person besides you, how does that make you feel? What did that do to the relationship? Is it something that you think you can honestly even come back from? Cheating is something that some people can come back from, but polyamory is not cheating. That's a conversation. It's open communication amongst people, and respecting boundaries that have been set. And there's no clear cut boundaries. Whatever works for you in your situation is how the boundaries are set, and as long as you respect them, then it's golden. It's when there's a lack of communication and disrespect of those boundaries, or that partner's feelings, that I have seen things have gone south. So let me see. Do our producers have anything that they would like to weigh in on as well as we wait for some of our guests? So I am waiting for a response here as well. But yeah, so I mean, I was expecting this conversation definitely once again to, be a hot topic. I can only give, my opinion, how I think I would feel in a situation if there was like another person. I guess I'm trying to think now, like, could I love two people at the same time romantically? I think I could, because I am a lover. I have a big heart. And if I felt like, it was I guess maybe something reciprocal, maybe. I don't know. Not something that, I've really considered too much. But I think I could see both sides of the spectrum. I think I can see, like, I've definitely, so TLC, here's a quick guilty pleasure divulge. I have watched a couple of those like sister wife type shows that are on TLC. And some of those situations, obviously, for dramatic effect, are a little outlandish. But what I have really gathered is, like, again, it's really about those boundaries, being able to form a community. There's a lot of women who see there being what's the word, I guess, benefit to having another person, whether it's to share in household responsibilities, child rearing. Some people homestead and do that. So when it comes to, the land or whatnot, so I can see it from that point. Of course, there is a spiritual thing of, believing that, relationships are supposed to be monogamous, period. And that's the way that they were designed. And then I can understand also being wrapped up in your feelings and being jealous and being in that space of a hard pass. I don't share. And I feel like that is valid too, to each his own. Like I said, I don't yuck anyone's yum. But do relationships, like, is there possession that really goes with relationships, that you get to lay claim to? Is, a marriage or a relationship something that automatically then just shuts you down from all other people? I don't know. Again, would love, love, love to hear your thoughts.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I thought I was breaking up. So what is the question? Could you love two people at one time?
Yeah.
Right?
Can you love two people at one time?
I think you can.
What would that look like?
I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on your capacity to love. Like, I have actually been in a relationship that was poly with two people.
Okay.
And I do believe you have the capacity. I can love two people at one time the same way.
So what is that like?
Um, it's just like any normal relationship when you meet someone and you love that particular person for whatever reasons that you love them, and then you're in a relationship with the other party and you love them for whatever particular reasons that you love about them, but you have to be very secure in yourself, and you also have to have the ability to be fair, because if you can't be
Mm,
fair, then the relationship won't work. You
I
got to
can see
find
that.
that balance. And some people, can't find that balance because maybe I don't want to say they're selfish, but that's what it
Yeah,
boils
I
down
was like, because
to.
I could definitely see a selfish bit in that. But for me, I'm also questioning, like, ain't that a whole lot of work? Like one person in a relationship is a lot of work. So how do you deal with two?
Same way you deal with one.
Yeah, but I mean, like, how, I think that's why I laugh at those TLC like I don't know if I could be restricted to a day.
Well,
You
you
know what I
don't
mean?
be
Like you
restricted
only see
to
me
a
on
day.
Tuesdays and Thursdays because of your work schedule and you also having to make time for the other person that you're in a relationship with.
No, we function together. So it was easier, I guess. It
Mhm.
wasn't, oh, this is my day, that's your day. Nope, we functioned all together. We went out together. We did things together.
So you guys never had any like one-on-one time?
We did.
Okay.
But
Okay.
again, it goes back to trust, and everyone in that dynamic, you have to be open and you have to be secure. You cannot be selfish or it doesn't work. Even if one person in that dynamic, it just destroys it.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. Well, that's why I was saying I was like I feel like ego is definitely a big thing. And if there's that sense of entitlement or insecurity, that's the first thing out the door. So how was it like? Did you know both people at the same time? Was this like, but like sometimes I always wonder, like, so how does a situation like that? Like, I can't imagine the conversation of, "Hey, babe, let's add another person." Like, how do you strum up a conversation like that? Because a lot of these kind of conversations are like hard. You know what I mean? Just the same as when you have to tell your partner that, maybe this certain move that they do is not as satisfying as they think it is. You know what I mean? Like having those real conversations. What does, I guess, what does that look like?
Well, I was not I was the addition.
Oh, okay.
So in their relationship, the husband saw something in the wife, and you kind of feel people out, and if your partner wants another person or wants something different. And so I met the husband first,
Hmm.
and then the husband introduced me to the wife.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So obviously there had to have been again some die to ego because for a man to go out and now seek out a partner or something different for his wife, he's got to be pretty insecure in what he brings to the table and just knowing that I guess whatever else he's bringing to the table is not something that he can provide at all.
Mm. Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, because here's the thing. Do you think that if you and the wife were very similar, that like there would have even been a conversation?
Actually, we were similar.
Really?
I was
Okay.
similar to, it was like I was a mesh of both of them.
Okay. 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 Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. So yeah, I love big. I think I don't know. I feel like it's an interesting thought process. You definitely have to get out of the box because society puts you in a box of certain thinking, and again, like you were talking about your feelings and emotions, that insecurity that puts you into a lot as well. Hey, how you
Greetings.
Hello.
I am greetings, greetings. Can you hear me?
doing? Yes, I could. I
Uh,
can. You want to introduce yourself real quick?
hey, I'm just simple. Hello, everybody. I'm just Kevis. Just that's all. Nothing much to me.
Just Kevis. Well, I'm gonna let
Yeah.
y'all know that I absolutely love talking to Kevis like on a regular basis. He is tons
Mhm.
of good conversation, lots of laughs, and very, I think good insight on things. So our conversation and our topic today is, can you love two people at the same time? What do you think?
Great topic. Absolutely, you can. You
Yeah.
absolutely can love two people at the same time. Um,
So what's
it's
it like? I guess what would it be like for you, or how do you feel like you would be able to explain to one person the love for another person without making them, I guess, feel inferior, or for them to really just understand where you're coming from?
like honestly, there's no way to control how somebody's going to react when they hear said news. Um,
Exactly.
you can be open and honest as much as to try to prevent that, but end up causing it in the same time, like in the same sense. So it's just knowing what that balance is between two people. Like again, you can love two people, but that love doesn't necessarily mean it has the same weight or it is the same type of love.
Hmm. So interesting. So I guess give us an example. I guess if you could give what two different types of love would look like.
Okay. Well, for instance, like I also believe that you can absolutely love somebody and not be with them. Like there could be a particular relationship that it just does not work. you know um Everything goes right, you just two are just not compatible, just like your
Right.
viewpoints aren't the same, goals aren't the same, but you generally have feelings for said person. Now, like I still love this person, but we just can't be together. And then on the other side, it's just like I can have that same adoring feeling for somebody else that is like, oh, this is perfect, this is beautiful. Now you may not, again, they may not be the same or equivalent, but I mean, you fall right into the schematics of how I'm feeling and how we're feeling and how we're growing from that point. So on one hand, again, it's a beautiful relationship on one hand, but on the other hand, it's a love and you just can't be with that person. So um, love them both, but one
Yeah.
works, the other doesn't.
Or you could love both of them, like I was in a relationship with both parties. But like I said, you could love something particularly about one person and
Hmm.
then love something about the other one that's, different, but it's still the equal amount of love. Like, oh, I love you because you're this, and I love you because you're that.
Do you think that brings an element of selfishness? Like you're trying to have your cake and eat it too? Because we all know that one person, can't do and be everything for someone. So, like, do you think that there is an element of like selfishness in that?
Well,
No,
absolutely. Love. Now, love is the most selfish emotion out of the entire spectrum.
Hmm.
I don't
Love
think
only.
so.
No, love only cares about love. That's why they say you do crazy things when you're in love, because
Hmm.
it'll make you become a different person than who you are, or it might bring something out of you that you did not necessarily knew that was in you to begin with. Love is a very selfish emotion.
I think love bring from different people brings out different things in you.
Exactly. You
I
know,
agree.
but love is the only emotion that can do that. You know, when you're angry with somebody, you know, like there's a pinpoint thing of anger. That's that, you know, like there's something that can designate that. When you're feeling sad, there's that thing. Anxious, you're feeling that thing. But when it comes to love, you have no idea what's going to happen once that feeling takes over. It's a gamble.
Yeah.
I
The
think
Well,
only emotion.
what were you gonna say? Go ahead.
I
the
said that's the
question
only.
that
I said
you
that's
asked, the question that you ask, is it a selfishness? I think it just depends on the dynamics of the relationship. To me,
Okay.
meaning if you're in a
mhm.
relationship with two people and all of y'all aware with that, I don't see the selfishness in it, because at that point it's a lot of giving and sacrificing. You're giving of yourself, they're giving of themselves, they're letting go some things that they might have done in a monogamous two-person relationship. But then if you're in a relationship with one party and you're in love with someone else and the other party doesn't know, then I think that's where the selfishness
Mm,
might be.
okay. So you think that it's actually you end up giving more than
If you're in a relationship
in a healthy way, right?
in a healthy, what is it, poly relationship,
Right.
it's a lot of giving and selflessness,
Well,
and awareness.
I feel you. Amber is saying, "Is that love though?" I would love to know what portion were you commenting on, Amber. Um, for what are you clarifying the definition of love, or if you would love to give us a definition of love too? Most definitely
mhm.
handle that. Where do you think honesty? Well, as you were just saying, Peach, like honesty, where does that fit in when you're talking about loving someone? And not to necessarily gender stereotype, but there are, it's one of those, like, you see a lot of men who just like walk out there and they'll proposition their partner, or just come out the gate because they just in the streets in general, like, yeah, so I'm gonna have this one over here, that one over there, this is gonna be the flavor of the week. How big is that honesty even in that situation? And can you, because I know in my 20s I had a whole lot of dudes lying through their teeth talking about they love me, but then they also love the other chick too. And so that's why I'm waiting for Amber to clarify on her question, because
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, so what exactly is your definition of love? Because the way you just dogged me is not love.
That
On
is a
top of that,
whole.
being secretive.
What you just said is just something totally, that's not even a relationship. That sounds like side piece and booty calls. What you just
Look, it doesn't even have to be. Well, I mean, so here's the thing. There's a lot of people that don't even know the difference between poly and swingers, because
Yes.
everybody thinks that like
Oh
poly has
no,
to do with sex, and it really actually doesn't.
it
Whereas
does.
swinging is a little bit more with
Yeah,
sexual.
that's a little bit more intense than poly.
Exactly, because you don't have to have a relationship with that person to
Mm.
Yeah.
swing in
There
that
is no
situation.
commitment in swinging. In a
Yeah.
poly relationship, you guys have a commitment to one another. Same way in a monogamous two-person relationship. Y'all lay down y'all boundaries. This is what we're doing. Y'all do goal setting, all of that type of stuff. So,
Man. Well, no, I was in actual relationships. They were just out here,
Well, yeah, it's just
like
look.
they're running
but
I'm
the
working now. You
difference
know,
is you didn't know. You didn't know. You probably found out. In these
Exactly.
relationships, you know about each other, and y'all are
Right.
possibly sleeping in the same bed, hanging out with each other, all sleeping together, building
But
things
what I
together.
am
it's,
saying is, though, there were a lot of these men would come to me and really try to explain how they really love me, but they also love this other person.
Oh
well,
well, then you weren't with that. You didn't want that relationship dynamic, so it just wasn't going to work for you anyway.
listen, I'm gonna be honest. That had nothing to do with love or relationship.
Yeah.
I tell you that it
That's
had nothing to do with it. It was just like, hey, you're hot. I'm gonna tell you whatever you need to hear, so I can get close enough for you to give me some. That's exactly what it is.
that's exactly. And I think that situation right there is what doesn't allow some people to maybe even explore polyamory, even if that was something that could possibly be, I guess, successful within their relationship. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
relationship that you specifically said, you know, this was a secure relationship where the husband was like, oh, my wife's got a need, let me fill it.
I missed that part. I was like, hold on, wait a minute, I missed it.
Okay, hold on. Amber says, I think that love has no bounds and no restrictions. It's a pure emotion that is spiritual. Relationships bring other feelings, a human need to have control over other choices, personal opinions, and what others' actions and words. Yeah. Oh, about others' actions and words. Yeah. I definitely do agree. Yeah, let's just, that was a lot to unpack there because you're right. She
Yeah.
just went from love to literally relationships. And she's like, relationships is what throws control and all of these other things that are on it that probably, you're right, does stifle love a little bit. Why you think that?
I disagree with that.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think that stifles love at all. Again, I said when it comes to relationships, like that term has more definitions than the concept of love itself. You know, most people when they get into relationships, is it really based off of love or is it based off of like desires or needs that's being fit or met at that period of time? I don't think it has anything to do with love. Those things, I mean, they do coincide with each other, but I don't think it's a deciding factor.
I think I might have to agree with you on that because there's a lot of trauma bonding, like you said. Oh, we have a lot
Hmm.
in common, or it could just be a purely physical attraction, and love is not part of it. But then, how do you
And
make love part of that? Once love does become part of that relationship,
then
then
everything else goes to the way everything else goes to the wayside once love creeps in, if it is one of those things. All right, so most of the time most people end up hooking up for an extended period of time and think it's a relationship. That's all they had. You know, it was just a physical, there's a physical attraction, and as time goes on they're starting to realize they don't even like that person. They
mm,
never had anything in common. They never really had any discussions about anything. They were just hooking up for an extended period of time. You know, it started off as a one or two thing, like 1 or 2 night thing, and the next thing you know, 6, 7, 8 months later down the line, you know, they're like, "Oh, what are we doing?" And
yeah,
then that's when they start having discussions. It's like, "Yo, you know what? I really don't even like you." So you never really was in a relationship to begin with. You know, same thing with trauma bonding. You know, we've gone through something together, and we were there to help each other. You know, cope where other people couldn't. There was something. There was a relatable topic, but that's all there was that relatable topic. Then when you start digging into viewpoints, whether it's their morals, their political views, their religion, those things start coming in. It's like, oh, wait a minute, like you're not the person I thought you were. We never got a chance to like actually, develop anything with them to begin with. You were just hooked and connected on one thing, and people tie those things to relationships. They're not the same.
I agree.
hmm.
And that happens a lot in the rebound stage.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So, do you think then that is it possible to move? I guess is it possible to be in a um I'm trying to see what's the best way to make this question make sense because in my head it
Hmm.
does. Um
But say how you thinking it.
it depends on the kind of love that you're talking about. Yeah, it definitely does depend on the type of love that you're talking about. Well, at this point in time, I was we, are talking about, relationships specifically because we know that, you can love your mother and your brother at the same time. Like, of course.
Hmm.
And like you said, those loves are different because they fill different spaces in your heart. But when it comes to an actual relationship, and like I said, I I don't know. I kind of agree with Amber on this. With relationships bring so much other stuff, and you're right. I mean, I don't negate that the average person gets together for things that have nothing to do with love, but at the same time, once there is a commitment or that conversation of, okay, let's try to see where we can go beyond, you know, this first infatuation stage. She's kind of right. Like things just kind of close up. So where people were a lot more open and free in that stage of not really exploring, because you're right, there's tons of people who get into relationships, and once you get in, it's like, I had no idea that they were like that. Like,
Yeah.
you're right, because you didn't even explore that portion of the situation. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is, if relationships really do, if setting that boundary or putting that commitment stamp on something other than casual ends up stifling love, then should we just avoid relationships altogether? And like you said,
Again, I'm just having a hard time agreeing with that concept. That has nothing to do with anything. You know, it's like, okay, again, people don't take the time to actually get to know their partner. Like, we should not be having a conversation about commitment unless we have completely finished going through the whole courting phase. And that's the thing that just does not exist anymore, is like the whole courting aspect.
I
You
agree.
know, when somebody is a potential partner for you, like they've already checked off like majority of your boxes for you to even consider it. You know, like there's certain things and certain aspects that, you know, like that you're drawn to this person for. Now you got to look at it as, now you got to look at your boxes, which a lot of people don't do. They have to self-reflect. What am I doing for this partner for them to want me around? Most people don't or won't take the time to actually do that. They're just like, well, it's great on my end, so everything should be fine. But did you take the time to listen to your potential partner and truly see what was going on with their, like, how they view things and how things, like, if things are moving forward, they're continually going to move forward if you guys are in line and in sync. Like, it's going to happen. But when these roadblocks come up later on down the line, that's because one party, or if not both, refused to let go of something that was happening in the beginning of the stage. You shouldn't be making those commitments if you're still trying to hold on to something. You connect with this person, that those things should already been lined out and planned. You kind of already have an idea based off of how they move, how they speak to you, how they interact, how you handle like the good and the bad. That's another thing that comes in that aspect, because some people don't handle bad news or bad situations well. Is your partner there to help guide you through that, or are you causing more of a problem than what necessarily needs to be? Like, you got to work through these things, and people don't work through those things. So all of these roadblocks shouldn't be a factor. I don't think that interferes with love or relationships. Because again, if you take the time, you know what's going to happen. You know, it's like, hey, if this is going to go wrong, I know my partner got it. I'm good. I ain't got nothing to worry about when it comes to that aspect. But if you're sitting there, well, I don't know if they can handle that. That's something that within that individual themselves that they've refused to let go or believe in their said partner.
Mm. Well, what if that partner has shown that they can't handle that?
Why are you with them to begin with?
I mean, aren't we supposed to be allowing folks to grow and give space, because we're not, you know,
Yeah, and if
striving for perfectionists?
but that's usually what comes up. That's usually what the problems are, because you expect your partner to be perfect. You view that person as that perfect specimen, that superhero that's never going to waver or anything like that. If you know your partner can't handle certain situations, then guess what? That means it's up to you to handle those situations, because you're covered what the other person is lacking, and some people aren't willing to do that.
Boom. I'm just gonna let that marinate real quick. So Amber says, so interesting. And are there even different types of love? I don't think there are different types of love, just different types of relationships and relating to others.
I agree with that.
Um, I don't think that there are. I mean, yes, there are different types of love in the sense of there is, an agape love, there is a brotherly love. I feel like there are those types of loves that stretch them out. Other than that, I do believe that people give and receive love differently. I
Absolutely.
give love differently than I receive love. And sometimes it is hard in relationships, again, to die to ego, because you've got to be able to, if you really love somebody, you literally have to come outside of your comfort zone to do for them what works for them, even if that's not something that you're used to or what you do. Most folks aren't willing to make that sacrifice either. So that's why I guess I really question whether or not you can really love two people, because it's a lot to love one person wholly, flaws and all right with the smelly feet and the lack of communication and the childhood trauma.
Yeah, but if you really love somebody, those things you actually end up liking and don't even realize it.
I think
You
that's
know,
relationships, we mirror each other. So most of the time it's you pretty much showing you yourself as well.
mm,
You
And
don't think
eventually y'all both get
compatibility
like, so who's
plays a
gonna
part?
not do
right.
this? Because we can't be both doing this.
I don't know.
Now again, I was like, that mirroring thing. I don't think relationships mirror each other either, because I don't want nobody like me
No, it's not
at
that
all.
you want somebody like you, but the person that you end up in a relationship literally shows you.
I disagree with that too.
I disagree with that too.
Really?
I
Because
have
Absolutely.
never seen me in anyone I've been with. But what you were saying before, I think compatibility plays a part. Like sometimes you don't have to go all the way out of your range to deal with somebody. It depends on how compatible you are with that person.
That is
yeah,
true.
I mean, but what determines compatibility? I've figured myself to be compatible with people that in the end what.
Well, you'll know because you wouldn't have to go through extra hoops to deal with them.
Hmm.
I've been in several relationships, and I mean, I've
That's
been
what I was gonna
married
say. Every
twice.
relationships make you jump through hoops. So I don't.
No, 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 no,
Mm-mm.
no, 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 they don't. That's
Mm-mm.
because y'all not as compatible as you are with maybe someone else, where you won't have to
Yes,
do that.
some
So people
relationships would.
see they yeah, some people, but you know what? That sounds like as a woman, right? You know, we're raised by our grandparents and they tell us you got to go through the fire and the flame and the brim, you got to walk through
Mhm.
the hot coals. And that's not necessarily true. When you
Right.
meet someone that is compatible to you, the coals and the hot fire and the flames and chasing and all this other stuff and rearranging your life and making these decisions to just uproot who you are. Generally you don't do that. Like
Yeah.
with Smack, we're compatible, so it's a lot of things that I worried about in previous relationships or I had to change that I don't have to because it's we're compatible. She gets it. I don't
Yeah.
have to do anything. I don't have those stressors.
Yeah. Well said.
Well, I was gonna say. Well, again, though, but what exactly determines compatibility?
What fits
I
into your
just told
lifestyle?
you don't have to change up too right. You don't have to change up too
Nothing.
much of who you are.
It
It
just
just
works.
is.
It flows.
But can't you get real stagnant and not grow if you with somebody like there? And I know this is an extreme, of course, because that's what I like to do. But like,
Mhm.
like, like
You know, I'm ready for it. You know it.
exactly, exactly. I was like, but you can literally be an enabler like that.
No,
Like I
No.
feel like there's a thin line with compatibility
no,
and enabling.
no. Because even
It's
in that situation, you'll both start to notice that you're stagnant and it'll be easier to have this conversation to say, okay, we're not getting anywhere, we're not doing nothing. What are we doing now? What are we doing next?
Yeah,
Versus
it'll be
being in a combative relationship with someone that you can't even barely talk to because how they receive information and how you take it is different. And now you're in this war for change and it's not happening. That's the difference.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely a difference. I mean, because like pretty much when you're enabling somebody, you're just trying to like you pretty much are keeping them emotionally hostage. Like you're reinforcing bad behaviors, bad ideas, things that aren't conducive to the relationship. Whereas though when you do get to a point where you're stagnant, one day y'all gonna look at each other like just like she said, like, yo, what are we doing?
Yeah, but
Like,
you do have a lot of people who feel like, oh, well, that's just her, that's just him, and I just, they are who they are.
and all they're doing is just repeating lines that they heard their entire lives and didn't do any type of research themselves.
Yes.
It's
So then,
just
what's the difference in really loving and accepting a person for who they are and enabling?
What? I
Because a
said
lot,
love
I was like, there's a thin
myself.
line. I personally believe there's a thin line in that, and I think that you really have to be discerning in your own personal boundaries. That is what determines the difference between enabling versus.
well, that's well. So when it comes to that, like again, when you're enabling, you're just like it's no benefit. Like it only benefits one person. Again, one person is like literally controlling, like keeping the other person emotionally hostage. Just like, and what I mean by that is, it's like, all right, I'm gonna keep saying like these things, keep doing whatever you're doing to keep you in a position where you're not trying to think about anybody else or go anywhere else because it's like, okay, yeah, everything that I do is perfect for this person, and it's like they may not even care. They just don't want you to go anywhere. It's like they're not even thinking about like whatever problems that you like the issues that are really going on. They're not even being addressed. It's just I'll just keep saying, oh, don't worry about it. Like if let's just say somebody has a problem with like leaving the refrigerator door open. I don't know. I'm just being stuff like
Right,
this out there. It's a problem. It's running up the bills. The food's going to go bad. These stuff's going, but it's like, oh, babe, it's okay. Oh, you just forgot this time. Or, oh, something's wrong with that. Something must be wrong with that door because it's not closing when you do it. Stuff like that. Like that's the kind of thing that again keeps one person trapped. Now, on the other hand, it's just like, and if you don't start closing this door, or matter of fact, I'm gonna just start putting this electric bill right on you every time you leave the refrigerator open and stuff like that. It's like, oh, I did it again. Yeah, you talk about it. Y'all can either make a joke about it, something like that, move on. It's a situation, it's addressed, it grows, and it's just like, and then you can go back like, all right, well, you leave the cabin doors open. I guess we got a problem with closing doors around here, so let's start doing that stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's just
right.
those type of things. That's the difference like between the two. Like actually loving for somebody, like you can actually call their faults, you can call them out on their faults, and then y'all do something to grow at them, and then you don't even start to look at them as faults anymore. It's just it does become a trait of theirs that you are potentially attached to. On the other end, on the enabling aspect, you could care less about what's going on as long as I'm benefiting.
Right. Interesting. Let's talk about soul ties for a second. What do you think about soul ties physically? And because I happen to be watching Kel Mitchell on Club Shay Shay, and he was
God.
exactly telling his story about his ex-wife. And I was like, that was gut wrenching. Like I hurt for him.
I,
Like
mm-mm.
I hurt for him, but then also wanted to be like, bruh. But I get wanting to believe the best of everyone. I get sometimes wanting to honor that commitment that you make, especially when it comes to marriage. You're supposed to, for better or for worse, sickness and health, but I don't think that includes stupidity. Like, especially when it comes to, certain things there. But yeah, let's talk about those soul ties and what it's like because even actually, Peach, I don't know if you can speak to this, and I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say soul tie, maybe for you, but because you had feelings for both parties, like the attachment, like it's a conversation, like every person that you are with physically, whatever is attached to them now is a part of you. And as they like to definitely say when it comes to, in a heterosexual situation, because the male is actually giving and the female is receiving, there, you need to be intentional about who you are interacting with, because you might be laying down with this person over here, but that person has laid down with 30 other people that are dealing with all these other traumas and all of these other things. And now you opened yourself up to that. So when we're talking about loving people, is that even a conversation? Is that something that is considered?
Well, I mean, it can be. Again, remember I said earlier too, like I can absolutely love somebody and not be with them too.
Mm-hmm.
So, like as far as that connection goes, it's just like I know that love exists. I'm like, it'd be foolish not to acknowledge that, like there was a connection or something right there. But it also is like it's just not good for me. It does neither party anything good if I know it's not going to work, or it's a dead end. Hence, Kale's situation. I don't feel bad for him at all. Sorry, dude. Like, don't feel bad for him at all. Not at all. Not a little, not a single ounce of bits. Like,
not even being 19, 20 years old, completely oblivious to how things work, the whole nine yards.
Don't feel bad. You learn and you grow. That's how you go. Like, that's how you develop into the person that you are. I'm sorry. Now, again, you know me. I have no problem gender stereotyping at all. I'll say it straight from the door. But like as a man, like you should have learned from that experience and go through. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it sucks. But the it's just foolish to keep trying to do something, and like she's just making fun of you at this point in time. Because I mean, I'm old enough to remember when he had that nervous breakdown at the height of his career, had to disappear, and then came back and did all this other stuff. But then you went back to it, thinking, oh, maybe she's changed. No, she was making a mockery of you in your face, and you're just sitting there like la 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 la. It's okay. Nah, sorry, bruh. Like you literally just could have found somebody else that had it, like that literally would have been better and beneficial for you. But no, you chose not to.
It sounds like you saying love has to have some boundaries to it.
No, again, love is a selfish emotion. Love wants what it wants, and it only wants what it wants.
But you said something about soul ties. I look at it as, yes, you do have these interactions with people, but I also see that they're karmic people. You be with them, you learn, you get what you need. It was right at that time, and then you move on.
So it's a seasonal thing.
Yes,
what do you think?
Karmic tie.
What do you mean with the hey abundance? I see your hey too. You said, but what do you think kept him there? What exactly do you mean?
Maybe she's talking about Kel. If you listen to the wife's story, you got to listen to both sides of the full picture.
Oh, I didn't know she had a story. Ooh.
Yes, you got to go on YouTube. I've listened to his and I listened to hers, and I see why she did some of the things that she did. So they're both a mess.
I was like, I'll listen to hers and then maybe I'll comment on a post in response to that. But
I just said she ain't respect them.
Yeah, I think sometimes when we deal with self-esteem issues, when we deal with self-worth issues, when we deal with, even a miscued reality of where we are, I think that has a lot to do with it. I know that when, things started to get bad and then he said, he found God. When you're in that, like I said, there's a lot of conviction that comes with now ending your marriage just because of this. Like, although, there have been scriptures or, God has made allowances for divorce in certain areas, there's a lot of, fire and brimstone that is taught that makes people stay. As he said, he was trying to stay for the kids. And I think that that is a huge reason why a lot of people stay in relationships. It's to attempt to still keep that quote unquote two-person household, but if it's toxic as hell, that's even worse for the kids than it is.
I honestly think people who do that, again, people, this is going to be controversial. People not going to like this, but I think that's a foolish idea too. People saying that they
What?
want to stay together for that people staying
Oh.
together for the kids. I think that is a
Well, that's
complete
because
asinine
everyone is
idea.
over here like, oh, two-person households are better than one. If you have a young male that's, raised in a home where the father isn't present, there is and don't quote me 100%, but like it's like a 56% chance that he'll end up in jail. You know what I mean? So they
I said statistically, that's right.
fire and brimstone. So as a mother, it's like, okay, do I make this sacrifice for a minute and just stay so that my child doesn't end up on the corner and I'll just endure because I can endure? Obviously there's certain situations where we're talking, domestic violence, all those kind of things. That's a little bit different. But just non-compatible, we're talking in a non-compatibility, what do they call it, irreconcilable difference type of situation. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I get it. Sometimes financially it makes more sense to stay together because the kids benefit more. Sometimes, like I said, it's a lot of things. Also, I do believe that there are people who are addicted to love. And this was something that I was talking to my therapist about. He was just like, there are people who are addicted to love and they don't have any boundaries with it. And so when situations like this arise, because they have this desperate feel for love, they will continue this cycle of things, that they still get what they're looking for.
You sure she's not meaning like in a spiritual sense with the soul ties?
Say it again.
Spiritual sense.
Yeah, in the spiritual sense, yeah. If it
a lot of that with the soul ties spiritually, you reincarnate people and they're familiar.
Yeah.
And you come to being that you're with them and they're so familiar from so many lifetimes that you just not realizing that you have been.
Yeah. And there's some people who get so self-absorbed into their relationship that they don't have an identity.
Yes,
and so
that does
then,
happen.
you know what I mean? Or there are people who, avoiding their own stuff, wrap themselves up in the other person's life so that, it's almost like they don't have them. But yeah, I think soul ties, whether you're talking, sexually or even love-wise, definitely, exist. And I don't know. I would be interested to see, like, again, what that looks like as far as a two-person, because all of these, everyone comes to the table with baggage. That's a lot of baggage.
Do you guys hear that noise? Like
yes, I just wasn't sure.
Is it?
I gotta think about it. So,
trying to figure out what that is.
I was like, am I crazy? I don't hear that. What is it? Should I be concerned?
Oh no, okay. In abundance that you can't hear us. That's interesting. Okay. Hey Tyrone. Hey Jen. Hey Mike. Hey James.
Each person says go on mute and one person says something, and then we'll kind of know where it's coming from, the noise.
Okay.
Can you hear the noise now? You heard it that time?
Yeah, but I just muted myself.
I think it's the other.
Nah, I was on mute that whole time. I just unmuted. I'm muting again.
Okay, Abundance, can you hear the noise now? Like the echoey, it sounds like a windy noise. You hear the wind? Nobody hears the wind. You talk, Morgan.
Hello. Yeah, I was like, it definitely is gone. I don't hear it right now.
I don't hear it now either.
Okay. I don't know. Well, goodness, listen, there's so there are so many ways that this conversation can sprout out. I had no idea that we are already like well into our time. I appreciate you coming on, bro, and just always, giving thought provoking
Of course.
conversation. No filter, just kind of, putting it all out there. I really do value your opinion and our conversation. So I appreciate you being a part
I
of it.
appreciate you. Love these
Yeah.
conversations.
I know. You're tons of fun. Amber, thanks for jumping in with us. Mac, thank you very much for putting in your relationship so well. And thank you, Beach, for being vulnerable and sharing as well. So guys, listen again. QR code in the corner. Like, subscribe, share, watch. We have literally a year and a half's worth of episodes. We have, a nice catalog of some amazing guests. You can get tons and tons of information. It does not matter what gender you are. It does not matter. None of that. Yes, they are, women or female entrepreneurs, but at the end of the day, everything that they share can be, got and grasped by everyone. So make sure that you guys go back, hit the replay button on a lot of those awesome videos, and we will see you again soon. Have a good night, you guys.
Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, what more do you say? Coming up. Yeah. Come on. Come on. Yeah. Come up now. Stop me. Come on.